I'll kick us off. My name's Kevin Dacey. I'm solution consultant and head of CS at Confidential. Excited to show you all the platform. We will go through kind of all of the tools that we have to offer for your data security needs. For those of you that don't know a ton about Confidential, we are a data security platform. We have some secret sauce and unique capabilities to be able to go into unstructured documents, find your sensitive information, and encrypt just that. I'll be going through about a 25-ish slide demo or slide deck. Just kidding, obviously. This is a no sales pitch demo, so we're just going to run through the environment. I'll show you how selective encryption works, what that advantage might be able to gain for you in your data protection journey. We have tools that you can start right off the bat, and then others that we can help grow you into to ensure that your data is locked down, secure, whether they be at rest, in transit, or in use. So why don't we just go ahead and get into my share screen so that I can show you all how this works. All right. So let's start with selective encryption. This is really what so much of our platform is built off of. Our capability to work within an unstructured document and selectively encrypt just the sensitive information within it without messing with the rest of that file. So we retain the original file format. Anyone can open up this Word document, edit it, work with it, right within Word. So obviously there are some encrypted blocks within here. I can't access the encrypted portions for my colleague Corinne here, but I have other blocks down here that are encrypted for myself. So we had our analysis engine go and run against this document and say all of the PII, name, address, and city zip get encrypted to Corinne, where all of the banking information down here is encrypted for myself. So if I were to send this to all of you on the webinar, this is what you would get. You would open this up, you would see all of our selectively encrypted portions, but you could work with this just as normal. I can make edits, I can save, I can send out, do whatever you normally would within Word. At Confidential, we really try to ensure that your workflows aren't disrupted by the security that we are adding to your infrastructure. So many times within our industry and a lot of the tools that are out there, the more security you put on, the more difficult the workflow is, the more hoops you gotta jump through. We're trying to upend that in the use of our Word add-ins, our Excel add-ins. We can just open this straight out of SharePoint, view all of our encrypted file or all of our encrypted data just by a simple click. I have all of my encrypted portions now revealed to me. I can make edits, I can make changes, and then I just re-encrypt it right before saving. It layered right back on that encryption that was there before, and then I can save this back into my SharePoint or into my local drive or send this out. There is an important note with anything within Confidential. We can get audit trails on anything that is performed against any of the documents or images or files that we protect. Here you'll see the document tracing information about this particular document. It's assigned a tracer ID. This is all embedded within the metadata of the document itself, along with all the encryption and the keys and the access policies. So everything gets built within the document. So no matter where this document goes, if it gets outside your four walls, either maliciously, accidentally, or even intentionally, you are going to see who has access to it, where it's going, where it's flowing, and all of the actions that were performed against the security of the document. If new encryptions were added, let's say I just want to put this for me and Mike here, I'll go here, highlight that, and just encrypt the selection. So now I just added a new layer. That will be a logged event against this document. That'll say, Kevin just put on a new encryption within the document. So everything gets a nice audit trail. We can utilize those logs for all sorts of different activity. And yeah, so that's at the baseline. What I just see a question here, what level of encryption? So we utilize AES 256 and we in transit TLS 1.2 and RSA 4096. So now that you've got a basis of kind of what selective encryption looks like, obviously we need to deploy this at scale, and that's where Cloud Protector comes in. So we can do this manually, like you just saw there within individual documents, but you don't want to go into every single document that you have, find whatever PII you've got and manually do it. Surely we have a solution for that. So in comes Cloud Protector. This is Cloud Protector. So with Cloud Protector, you get a dashboard, shows you, what we found, what we've protected for you, what your mitigated risk is based on the policies that you've layered on top. And this is really the automated version of Cloud Protector, of Selective Encryption. So what we're doing here is we are attaching data source. So we can connect sources such as S3 buckets, Azure Blobs, OneDrive, SharePoints. We can also do a group of sources all at once, where if you have, let's say, thousands of SharePoint sites, we can have a service account with the right amount of access, go and crawl through your environment to automatically attach all of those sources to Cloud Protector. You can also then layer on your policies where you can say, I have a test group here that is going to be, that's going to need the encryption for PII, and this is going to be for my HR group. We are connected typically to your IDP, where we grab all of your users, all of your groups that are defined within, say, Entra or Okta or whatever you're using, which then we can build all of our encryption policies off of that. So if I submit that, now I have an encryption policy that is built within my Cloud Protector. So now we have sources, we have policies. Now let's actually go and run something. So we set up a scan here. I'll just do a test scan. I'm going to give it what drive or what store I want to point it to. So I'm going to say my OneDrive demo. And then I'm going to either have it do an analyze or an analyze and encrypt. So typically what we see is, first, we just want to find out where's our sensitive data, where are we most vulnerable. So we'll do an analyze and we'll give it a few detection suites. These are the ones that are right out of the box: PII, PCI, HIPAA, GDPR. But we can customize these for you. We can add, either get really granular and just say, I want to go just hunt for social security numbers alone. Or we can go more broad and say, give me all of these, plus any additional that might be important for your own specific industry. So it's fairly simple, straightforward process for us just to tune our analysis engine to tell it what it needs to go look for. So I'm not going to do a scan. I already ran one prior right here. And so this is that exact same drive. OneDrive demo, I told it to go look for everything. And this is what you get. This hunted through all of those documents within that data store. And it spits back a nice little report that shows me that within this doc that it found a whole bunch of email addresses. It found some money values for PCI. It found some dates, and it actually found an answer to a security question. So this is how you would go and hunt through your data at rest within all of your data stores and go find the sensitive information within it. Now, layering that on top of the encryption policy that I added, I can then go tell Cloud Protector, okay, now take this file or this folder or even this store and all of the PII that you find, encrypt to this policy. So that might be several groups, it might be project teams, might be individuals. but say, within, I know that this folder belongs to this person and has this much PII, let's go encrypt it for that group. And that's where you would end up with the Word document kind of that I showed you at the beginning. That is Cloud Protector running and layering on those encryption policies right on top. Okay, let's move to, let me see if I can actually pull up chat over here. When you do a scan and those results are brought into a report, what are the protections around the data now that exists in that platform? Great question. So there is a small tweak that you would find on an actual deployment where this match content isn't actually is not viewable as you would see here. Obviously, it would be fairly it would be a fairly high risk to have all of your admins obviously see all of the match content, because that's going to be a whole lot of social security numbers and just very, very sensitive information. So this lives in the metadata of the servers that we stand up. It is important to note, when you are deploying Confidential, we have the ability to go all the way from full SaaS to fully on-prem, or any hybrid in between. There is a key server, the main API, we have the SDX server or the CP server. Those individual servers, we can either host for you, or we can deploy them straight within your infrastructure. But Confidential is totally data blind to everything that is within those servers, particularly if they are on-prem within your environment. Never leave your four walls. Everything is stood up within your environment, so that, of course, we are a security company. At the end of the day, we want to ensure that we have the highest level of security for you. So all of that is stored within your own infrastructure. So I'm going to move on to SDX. So now that we have our data stores, our data at rest all locked down, we've got all of our encryption policies, we need a way to share that information with external parties. So in comes SDX. I am going to, as a nice little exercise, send out an SDX to all of you that has a sample document within it. That document is going to have some selective encryption for it. What you're going to see is the back end, the recipient's workflow of accessing a document. What's great about SDX is you don't have to have an account. You don't have to have any infrastructure. You don't have to download any software. You are going to, as an external recipient of a send, all you're going to get is an email that has a link that takes you to our web portal. That is you're going to validate your identity with an OTP. That's going to get resent to your email to validate your identity. And then you will be able to view the document that I just sent. What I actually did there prior to the meeting is basically set up something like this. So a secure document send, we can send up to 1 terabyte of data in a given send. We can have hundreds of recipients. The sky's the limit with what you can do with secure document send. We can send any type of file and encrypt at the full file format, or if it's one of our supported files like M365, PDF, text files, those can be selectively encrypted and then sent through SDS. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to create a secure document send with a nice view of our AI guard workflow, which I will cover in a minute. Tell it where it needs to be stored. Message recipients. This is the message that you're all going to see in your email body. Here's the AI guard. And then you have a bunch of options in terms of what you are allowing your recipient in terms of access controls. So view only, so they're only going to be able to view it right within the web browser. Disallowed encrypted forces them to, if this is on, it forces them to only download encrypted versions of your file. Allow recipients to upload. This is what we call a persistent share. So if we have this toggled on, you're going to allow your recipients to actually send things back to you. Allow forwarding. I mean, fairly self-explanatory, but tells the recipient that they can then forward that document on, obviously with the approval sent back to the original sender. Set expiration severs the link that is sent via the email, so it no longer has access to the document via that link. And then watermark just layers on the user code or their username over top of like a PDF, so that, you know, if there was some printing or screenshotting, you'll know exactly who did it because there's a nice watermark on there for you. So I'm going to go watermark off. I'm going to turn that one on so y'all can see it. And then we'll turn off disallow decrypted just so you can see everything. And then I will go and send it to myself. Send it to a new user. Obviously, this can be used for internal sharing or external. Both essentially the same. And let me just make sure I've got that going. And where did my send go? There we go. All right, send. What's happening is this file is now being encrypted via confidential. So we are encrypting the full file. It's a PNG file. We are storing it into this bucket that I designated and then sending it out to myself. What we're going to see here is this, the no reply. This is what most of you should have just gotten with my little email body, the definition or the file obviously attached, and I'm going to go and access it. I'll send myself my verification code to validate my identity. Of course, the demo gods were not going to be nice to me today. We'll send off that. There we go. There it is. All right. Copy this back over. Put it in. And there we go. So this is what your external users will see. They get a nice web portal. They can add files back. So if I want to send back, let's say a clinical trial summary, I just say, okay, great, send it. It's going to re-encrypt it, save it back into that bucket and send it back to the original sender. Same process, just reverse from the recipient side to the sender. I can view this straight within my portal here, where it's going to pull open my nice architecture diagram of AI Guard. I can download an encrypted version. I allowed myself to download an unencrypted version. And then if down here, our external users get a version of Confidential where they can take the encrypted files that you had sent them and then decrypt them straight within all of our protection tools. So if they had downloaded a version of that was encrypted, they just drag it in here and decrypt it. Now, as I mentioned, everything in Confidential gets tracing. So I'm going to come over here, and this is that file. Actually, I can just go right into my initial send. I can see that there's a little tag here because they sent me something back. I can go here, go to my screenshot, and see everything that's being performed to this document. So this is the tracing. Since it was protected with confidential, we embedded a tracer ID right here into the metadata. I can see that there was a new encryption policy put on it, that I shared it, and then that it was viewed by this external party with an IP address where we can get a map. I can even see it nicely on my little viewer here. Yes, I'm based in the West Coast over in California, so that is accurate. And yeah, so this is all of the tracing that you get for every document that is sent via confidential or protected via confidential. All right, one last thing. You have data at rest. Now you've shared all of your data. Now you want to use your data. Let's go into AI Guard. So AI Guard is our ability to take all of these now selectively encrypted documents and ingest them into vector databases to be able to be queried against with an LLM. Traditionally, you would have a choice to make. Either you encrypt at the file level, which now renders that document fairly useless for your AI workspaces, because you're not getting access to what's all behind that encryption, all that good context. Even if it was just a single credit card number that was within a 20-page document, you're going to encrypt. Other DSPMs or other tools are going to tell you got to encrypt the whole thing, and they're only able to encrypt at the file level. We can encrypt at the data level, which means we can go and encrypt that one credit card number, leave the rest of those 20 pages completely untouched. Now you can ingest that into your vector database, protect the credit card number from being accessed by agents or users alike, and still get the value out of the data that that document has for your AI workspaces. So how this works, I am going to flip over here to my AI settings. You basically got to bring three things. You bring an LLM provider, you bring a vector database provider, and you bring in an embedding engine. We can connect to several of the big ones. Obviously, this is growing at an incredibly fast pace. We have Llama, OpenAI, and Hugging Face. We've got S3 Vector, Chroma, Lance Database, Llama, Gemini, Claude for LLM. So you stand up these three kind of peers within your AI workspace. And then you flip back over here to my home and create a workspace. So I'm going to create a workspace. Let's call this no sales workspace. I'm going to give it, we'll do a Llama, S3 Vector, and OpenAI. Actually, might do OpenAI for this one. We'll create a workspace here. And now I have defined via our API all of the protection policies that I'm going to put against all the documents that I ingest into this vector database. I have three users, Alice, Bob, and Charlie. Alice essentially has unlimited access. She can access whatever she wants. Bob has a bit less access. Kind of certain things are going to be encrypted for him. Certain things are going to be unable to be accessed by Bob. And then Charlie just has basically no access whatsoever. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to encrypt a financial report and ingest that into my vector database. Let me do one thing real quick just so you all can see what that document that I just uploaded was. So it's a financial report. It's got some credit card numbers. It's got some, purchase information. It's got some account holder information. So obviously littered with all sorts of sensitive information. So what I just did is I put that through our API. It scanned it very much like Cloud Protector would, find all the sensitive information, attach the protection policies to it, and the access policies. From there, I just ingested it into the workspace. I am going to come and log in as Alice. And what you will see is her access is going to be basically everything. So let's log in as Alice. Come on, Alice. There we go. Come into the workspace. I'm going to start a chat and say, what was in that financial report? And what's happening here is this is now going against that vector database that I had set up. It is checking Alice's access credentials, pulling the embeddings that are also encrypted at rest in the database, and then returning back an answer. So it's giving me, here's some credit card numbers. These are the account holders. They did a whole bunch of stuff that says, on page one, there's the usage summary, et cetera, et cetera. This is what you would typically get, with any unprotected document. Where the power comes in is let's now log in as Bob. There's Bob. And let's ask the exact same question. And you're going to find, since Bob does not have all of the credentials, come right back into that same workspace, new chat. What's in the financial report? Again, going back through, finding the embeddings that are relevant, ensuring that they have the right access policies, bringing back the response. This is the difference. So Bob has access to the account holder names, so it brings that back, but Bob does not have access to the credit card numbers. So it says, yeah, there are credit card numbers here, but you're not authorized to see them. So it is allowing for the difference of response based on the access policies that the people actually have. Now, if I were to log in as Charlie, and unfortunately we're running out of time, but if I were to log in as Charlie, essentially comes back as you're not authorized to see anything. One last thing that I do want to show, and then we can essentially wrap here, is if I come back in here, as I mentioned, everything confidential is protected by confidential is traced, including AI guard. If I come back here as the admin, so I'm logged in as myself now again, I come back in admin, I have my vector database. You can see all of the embeddings are fully encrypted. I can see the chats. So here are all of the chats that were sent to No Sales Workspace. What's in the financial report? I see who asked it, what did they ask, and what was their response. So I can track who is getting access to the vector database that I have set for this particular this particular AI workspace. Sorry. So yeah, that is essentially our platform in about 25 minutes. I encourage you all, if there are things of interest that we want to double click on, please let us know. I'm going to throw up a quick QR code here. This is a way that you can ping us to get a more in-depth demo. We are happy to go into any one of our individual functionalities or our tools and give you a much deeper dive into how exactly this might fit within your industry and your particular use case.